Hello, beautiful family. This is Paloma. I come back with the story the sky is telling for the next few days. Thank you for sharing space with me. Okay, I was doing a live right now on Instagram and I got stung by a bee whilst doing it, and I'm still feeling that in my leg. So, welcome, be the blessing. Um, so, we've entered August, the 8th month of the calendar cycle. It feels quite. I don't know, it's exciting, it's fast paced, especially the first couple of weeks. I think the second half is going to be, might give us a truce to integrate and get ready for eclipses, because we have eclipses on September. So I do want to mention, like, if there's still somehow a longing or a hope for things to be like they used to be, or like for, I don't know, some other time in our lives, that's really not the case. It's more like we are continuously adapting to the speed at which every process is happening right now. We are acquiring more capacity for the rhythm of life right now, for integration, and to actually maintain center through it all. So I think actually if you observe yourself, perhaps you can already notice that indeed you have more energy available, more awareness that allows you to come back again and again and again into a place of balance. Not because it's easy, not because there aren't stuff happening in our lives, everything's happening, but because perhaps we have matured into a deeper love and personal power. And also celebrating harvests. At the beginning of August, we celebrate the first harvest, and I think this is a beautiful one to be aware of, to anchor our experience in the beauty of the personal growth that we've also been working towards. So the wheel is spinning fast. We can always come back into the center and watch the movement for a moment and choose moment by moment what we need and at what rhythm it is sustainable and possible for us to move. Because we are truly opening ourselves into this dimensional reality, and it is a new art, a new mastery of presence that is continuously integrating the convergence of a lot of information with discernment, verifying, and ideally moving once we feel aligned. And this might happen actually several times a day or a week at least, but it is quite constant. This is the new reality. So more than any other moment, I think August is a window to the future. It has this flavor of future. So I think if we become curious, we might notice some of the colors that will be painting the next few years and that will be speeding up the next few years. I do not want to, what's the word in English? I don't want to do a blind sight, I think that's the word, to the reality of the convulsions of the world. Because also August might actually peak in the conflicts. I mean this in a collective level. And when we are empaths or very sensitive people, it's not so easy to feel everything that is going on, to be attuned to it. Nevertheless, I actually think, even though it might sound counterintuitive, that instead of being absorbed by the pain, the highest service right now is to contribute with a frequency that elevates, that heals, that actually creates a balance to all the density in the world. So I am not talking here of a toxic positivity bypass of the situation, because the root is actually to feel, but it is to feel with responsibility. I mean, without victim consciousness, without over-identifying ourselves with the pain as an identity, and also just becoming a safe space for all of these emotions or waves of emotion to flow through us, to cleanse, to purify, to release. This is enormous. If you are doing this is you're allowing yourself to go through these waves. This is a great service to the collective. Thank you. I think humanity, in truth, has already said yes, has already chosen with Earth to say yes to this new chapter and this new era. And this is the process of chaos before the new a new way of organization, of order, a new forms of co-creating may actually arise. There are beautiful keys in terms of this in the next full moon. for us to learn and to remember how to hold space for moments of transition like this, for ourselves, for our communities, and for life itself. So just recapitulating, like remembering where we're coming from, because I know I didn't upload a video last week. We have just went through the threshold of the third quarter. In Scorpio, Venus has just entered Cancer. She was opposing Saturn and Neptune in Aries as soon as she entered Cancer. Chiron started its retrograde movement, and Mercury already joined the Sun. This is a half point of the retrogradation of Mercury. This is a seat of consciousness in the heart. All of this pretty much happened at the same time with a lot of intensity. I might dare to affirm for most of us last week was pretty intense. So we are talking about relationships, love, values. Maturation is like a honing of our humanity. Disillusionment as well. And this is a time of the word, I don't know if this applies in English, but the word in Spanish, revelación, which is revelations, has a bit of a trick to it, because it's like to put the veil on again. So I use the word revelations, which is to actually lift the veil. I think this is that time, but I know it's the time of revelations, as it is called usually, because it is important for us to see in order to become sovereign. We require enough and truthful information so we can transform and create. We are in a healing journey, of course, and healing doesn't always look like rainbows and flowers. Nevertheless, may we always notice rainbows and flowers. That's what makes healing possible, actually. That whatever happens, we can notice, receive, and share the beauty and the love, because it is always there. And allowing ourselves to receive the blessings attunes us into this frequency of gratitude, and this seems so important as well. So this week we have a full moon in Aquarius. This is the full moon of the Leo season. It's about authenticity. This is the axis of authenticity and also relationship. Actually, you know, there's so much going on in this full moon that how could I was like, how do I synthesize this? But in truth, it's talking about integration of several of the axis of relationship in several dimensions, or all of its dimensions. By this I mean everything in the sky is talking about relationship, because everything is relationship. The relationship with yourself, the one-on-one relationship, the relationship with the community, with the collective, with existence itself, and who are you in the context of all of these great tapestry. So who you have been, who you are now, who you are becoming, because it's as if the future is asking something of you. It's calling you into showing up for the legacy that you will leave behind, that looks like a path of light, of stardust, a radiant path, a bridge between what was and what can be and will be. Hopefully this is a bridge full of truth, of courage, and of love. So before I go into the energy of the full moon, I do want to mention on the 6th or 7th of August, Mars is going to enter Libra. Libra is the school of relationships. So we usually think of Libra and we think of harmony, of balance, of beauty, of justice. And Mars is Mars. So there is like this combat energy. It's going to move our action towards the values of Libra, towards justice and harmony. To me, it has a flavor of activism, to be honest, no? Because it's Mars. I would like to say peaceful warrior, peaceful activism, because from Libra, the intention is to find agreements and middle points. But we have to be intentional to manifest this energy, because there are situations of confrontation that might trigger a lot of anger in us, and anger as a sacred messenger as well, that will allow us to see where is the lack of balance and justice. And this is happening in the world, as you know. So the shadow side of Mars in Libra is really that we usually feel him as kind of doubtful, like he wants to take everyone in account, to make a decision. So sometimes there's a lack of assertiveness, and there's an avoidance of truly affirming himself, and yet everything speaks about affirming ourselves, So let us notice when we are sliding into patterns of compliance or fear of rejection, because everything is truly inviting us or demanding truth, authenticity, and yes, also diplomacy in whichever context. So having said this, Mars is not the same Mars as every time he visits Libra every couple years, because he's actually receiving activations that we don't know. So his expression might be radically different this time. Because everything is changing. So astrology is also integrating new frequencies from each one of these planets. The natural thing is that astrology evolves as well, and our understanding of the heavens. If the earth is changing frequency and we are changing with her, then we are probably available to open ourselves up into new information from the stars and the planets as well. I'm saying this because Mars is going to enter this configuration. He's going to have a trine, a fluid dialogue with Urano in Gemini, which is truly new. It is the frequency of innovation, revolution, the future, and change, and also with Pluto in Aquarius. So this is a grand air trine, which is truly the big leap that I think happens in August. It's a jump of frequency, a very quantum jump, unprecedented, I would say, for humanity. So when Mars is implied, the thing is, everything has to move. There's action. There's an action that transforms and transmutes, because Pluto, there is action that releases, awakens, and changes everything, cuts patterns and cords, because that's Urano. And this is all happening in air, which is communication, thought, consciousness, awareness, and collaboration, community. It's quite beautiful, because it's as if I hear like this very big, who are you? No, please be you, but don't do it yourself. I mean, don't do it alone. I don't think this is a time for the lone wolf at all. I think it's a time for the pack. With, the sacred personal space that we all need in order to maintain connection to our own compass and guidance. Well, now that I'm here, I'll keep going with Mars. As part of the full moon, actually, there is this grand air trine that I'm mentioning, which is amazing. And then there's Mars also, opposite Saturn and Neptune in Aries. I mean, there is this kite, cosmic kite, I think that's the word in English, and it's air and fire. It's very interesting because the kite is held by Mars, which is will and action, and is raised in the focal point by Saturn and Neptune in Aries. So I read it as total responsibility for our actions as a consequence, coherent consequence of our thoughts in alignment with this vision of the new dream that is a long-term dream and that is asking of you to be you. To be Aries, to be the I am that I am, in service to all of our relationships, human and not human. This is the attuning ourselves with a higher will, a higher power, with the revolutionary prayer that transforms and is channeled by Mars, by masculine energy in movement. Kites are usually very entrepreneurship and creative energy, and there's actually two kites in the sky, but I'll go by parts. What I do see with this full moon, it's like a very fractal, like it feels very crazy. I see like fractals, quite crazy energy. So it happens on the 9th of August at the 16th degree of the school of vision, future, and consciousness. It has a very oracle, like very oracular kind of energy in this moment. So the moon is shining in the sign of Aquarius, which is we are community, but she's receiving her light from the sun in Leo, which is the I am, the authentic and creative expression of my being and the strength of my heart, creating a network, vibrating in a web, manifesting the unity of diversity. So do you notice how everything is truly speaking of I am and we are, I am and we are. I do want to mention a key and a treat of this full moon, which is that this moon is conjoined Chariklo. I was going to say I uploaded a class of Chiron, but I haven't translated that class for you guys. But well, I do want to mention her because she's a beauty. I think she actually answers these questions or these things that I was mentioning at the beginning about empathy and pain. So she's a wife of Chiron. She's actually a sweetwater nymph, but she's considered a centaur. She's in the centaur belt in the sky, and therefore she's a healing force. Actually, she held the space for Chiron's pain to be elaborated into medicine, and therefore the way in which she delivers healing is through presence. It's so beautiful. It's through presence, grace, and beauty. She is a witness that holds space for pain and therefore allows for a healing or an integration of that which was seeking to be received by love, to be received and therefore integrated. She is a midwife of consciousness. Her presence usually speaks of moments of important and very big transitions in our lives. She is the guardian of liminality, and she takes care of the medicine women and men of the world. To me, I call her the healer of healers. So she is there as one of the key points and invitations of this full moon, inviting us to become the witnesses, first of ourselves, of our own processes without judgment, just the beauty of witnessing ourselves and allowing ourselves to be, so we can actually offer this space to our relationships and widen this into our humanity. She is the key for me of this moment. She's in Aquarius, of course, 20th degree, and she is holding space for the future to be birthed through your creation, our creation. I did mention already the kite with Mars and the gods of change. That's part of the story, of course. And the other kite, we see all of these characters, all the ones I mentioned already are a part of this. But now we see Mercury retrograde at the focal point of the kite. He's going to station direct on the 11th of August, so not so far. But right here in this kite, he's actually opposing Pluto. I think he's just facing the fear to raise, we are facing our fear to raise our voices. This is a true calling us into empowering the heart so we can bring forward truth, become truth, heal with truth. And this happens first inside, to be honest. It's about owning our truth, not really at the moment like roaring or truth into the world. He's still retrograded. It's an intimate process. But from there, imagine Mercury is talking to Urano. This is an awakening of consciousness and the heart being electrified by this energy. And then he's talking to Mars, like in this agreement of the expression of the masculine energy. Again, we're talking about fire and air. Masculine energy that cares and protects life with integrity, because he's also Mercury having a trine to Saturn and Neptune. Very powerful. So to end this, because there's just so much going on in this full moon, so the ruler of Libra, where Mars is, right? That's Venus, and Venus just entered Cancer. So both of them, the cosmic lovers, they are in cardinal signs, which are, this is an energy of advancement, of creation, of building, no? And that's swift. So Venus here, and this is beautiful, is already applying a conjunction to Jupiter in Cancer. This is not going to be exact until the 11th, but it's already there. I want to speak to this further next week, but this is truly a blessing from the heavens, no? And the blessing comes through the waters of Cancer. So there is all of this air and fire energy, and then if we follow the lead of the energy, we will find that the blessing truly comes from allowing ourselves to feel. So if we feel, if we nurture, if we love, if everything moves and everything changes while we're feeling, nurturing and loving, we will be okay, because we will be a safe place to bloom, to flourish. So what a moment, my beautiful family. Just wishing you have a healing full moon through the love that you already are. And thank you so much for listening. Blessings. Tlazo Kamati.